K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
Game on, where progressives fear us and rhinos tremble. Welcome to the political jungle. I'm JD.
This is Stacey. No one is safe. No one is spared.
Lock up the children.
And the old folk.
Welcome to the world of liberservative conservatarians.
Yes, dear boys and girls, yes, they put a British pedophile on a spaceship on a sitcom out in space, but now we have Donald Trump in the primary. Woo! Thursday night, April 5th, 2016, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. JD and Stacey here for Game On, part of that Conservative Commandos radio network on that K98 Talk. The Packers, cheese, and primaries, the only 3 times people ever talk about Wisconsin, baby. Welcome back to all our political geeks, freaks, and back alley sneaks. Everybody within the sound of my voice right now, you know exactly what to do. Get over to K98Talk.org, get in that chat room, say hello to Stacey, say hello to the drunkest, Oive Schmier from the pictures they send us, nakedest, smartest political radio audience in the business, JD and Stacey, baby, your radio acid trip. Not a bad little way to start the show, right?
Not a bad little way at all.
How are you, baby?
I'm doing good.
All right. Tonight, kids, we're going to be talking GOP Wisconsin primary circus. The Dems after tonight might be closer to an open convention fight than the media lets on. Up to the minute primary results, nonsense of the world, and more. Remember, guys, we're not just live here Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. on that K98 Talk. We do it again for another edition of Game On, live Thursday nights, 9 p.m. here on K98. Sunday morning, we shift gears a little bit. Still Game On, but we're curing your mainstream media hangover. Friday, 5 p.m. drive time. We got a little show in a little media market called Philadelphia. Oh, and by the way, with a drive time lead into Yahoo Sports. Big whoop. What are you going to do? Want to fight about it? And that's on that WNJC 1360 AM. JD and Stacey proud to be part of that Conservative Commandos radio network. After the show, Hooples, not during it. First, you're going to stick around. You're going to listen to the boss at 10 o'clock because I keep promoing at the wrong time. That Riggy Ticky Tavi Rick Robinson, America Off the Rails, every Monday through Friday here on K98 Talk, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And stick around, guys. The reasons you listen to that show Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, there may be a very, very big game-changing surprise announcement coming. May there not be, young lady?
That's what I hear.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'll give the audience a hint. Nobody knows who Dallas is going to draft with their fourth pick, but Dallas might be drafting JD and Stacey, baby.
We'll have to see.
Okay, terrific.
How are you, baby?
There's Fox is already calling Wisconsin for Bernie, and Decision Desk HQ, which calls earlier than anybody, has nothing.
Fox is calling it for who?
Bernie.
Boom, boom, boom.
I would like to thank all the very white people of Wisconsin for coming to vote for me, because as America knows, we need a revolution, and that revolution better just be had by white people, because the coloreds all vote for Hillary Clinton. But, Mr. Vargas, are you in charge here? Are you in charge of the colored people? Yeah.
I mean, there can't be 0.5% of the vote in. It's 6 minutes after 9.
Well, but the campaigns and the candidates' body language. And tonight, guys, what we're going to be going through in the show, we're going to be going through in the first segment. GOP was, but that's all, folks. You see it Thursday night. The GOP Wisconsin primary circus and what that's looking like. And then we're going to go into the Dems on the second side. One of the things you have to understand, campaigns themselves are almost like living, breathing human beings. They have body language. And a body language of a campaign, in this particular case, Donald Trump, I'm not sure. I don't think Kankles is on the ground tonight either. I could be wrong about that.
No, I heard she kind of left Wisconsin and went to New York.
Okay, that's like trying to wake up before the drunk waitress realizes you're leaving after some stupping. That's what they both did. Basically, Trump and Hillary Clinton, if you look at the body language, lit out the back window in the middle of the night because both of them are primed to lose these campaigns. If you looked at the margins for Uncle Speedo, well, let's get into Uncle Speedo and them in the second half. Stacey, do you see anything on your decision desk there?
I don't see anything on Decision Desk, but I do have Sanders is projected to win Wisconsin Democratic primary. Watch on Fox. So
I would like to say, Hillary, I now care about your damn emails.
They have exit polls show independents choose Sanders.
You know, Sandy's making a great point in the chat room. We're going to go into that in the second segment. You're absolutely right about the super delegates. You have to understand something, Sandy. They are not bound to stay with the candidate they are originally pledged to. Yes, if you go back and you look at the calendar, one of the stories we'll go into about the Dem primary is if you go back to Obama and Hillary in 2008, by February of 2008, in that election year, so for this cycle, this would have been this past February, the Obama campaign had already started picking away and peeling off Hillary superdelegates. We're going to go into this a little more in the second half because I think that this race is a little different. But let's stay with, I know that she retired it, but originally it was... But my beautiful and brilliant co-host has renamed it, right, baby? It's no longer a circus.
Yes.
It's a what?
It's the dumpster fire.
Okay. So if you take a look at the polls coming into Wisconsin, why is Wisconsin important? Wisconsin is important on the Republican side for a variety of reasons. The biggest of which is that it becomes mathematically much more difficult for Donald Trump to arrive at the convention with the requisite 1,237 delegates that he would need to be declared the nominee for this not to go to a contested convention. Understand something, folks. If Donald Trump wins tonight in Wisconsin, it's most likely over. I mean, his path to the nomination, if he wins tonight, this is basically Cruz's and the Never Trump crowd's Waterloo. And if you take a look at Real Clear, and Stacey and I, one of the reasons we like to use Real Clear is because there are consolidated averages of the polls, and for this particular one, these consolidated averages go back as far as February 22nd. Mm-hmm. So you have this goes back to October. So if you take a look at all the time that Trump had this massive lead and the Cruz consolidation within Wisconsin, while Trump's had these speed bumps in the last few weeks, right now the Real Clear Politics average going into tonight was Ted Cruz at 39%, Trump at 34%, and baby, we cannot forget. Yeah, baby. Son of a mailman. And Kasich was at about 20%. Why don't you pick it up from there, Stacey, how you see this playing out for the Republican Party tonight?
Well, I mean, I think that the big difference is the near-term polls. I mean, Cruz pretty much, the early polls that I saw, Cruz was like at 19% and Donald Trump was at 50%. So when you start talking about averaging polls back from October, that's a huge difference to overcome.
It's
but
a lot?
when
what
you
kind,
started,
what kind of difference? Huge.
Huge.
The highest that Trump was in any poll, but going back that far, was 43%. So yeah, he was approaching that 50% mark.
Now, as you looked at polls in the last week or so, you saw Cruz in polls within the state up by as much as 10%. And I think that had a lot to do with the near misses, number one. Number two, popular conservative talk show hosts doing what all of our conservative media should have been doing, which was vetting the candidates against their stated positions and actually asking them questions. Charlie Sykes being the most notable.
Good for Charlie.
You had Scott Walker's endorsement, which again, his statewide, approval rating is around 40, but his approval rating within the GOP within Wisconsin is at 82%. They have an all-time low unemployment and a lot of really good stuff going on.
And
Donald Trump's narrative about Scott Walker going into that primary was not very bright.
And a lot of Walker's downside to that is honestly just sour grapes Dems because he beat them twice in a recall and a reelect. But as you take a look at the message this starts to send is there's been a lot of speculation over the last week, and so I think this is kind of a perfect storm, if you will. There's been a lot of speculation over the last week that Donald Trump is starting to do the implode that we thought he was going to do back in like November. If Cruz wins Wisconsin by a margin, that kind of solidifies the fact that he really did hurt himself this week, at least from a perception standpoint, in my mind, number one. And number two, everything I was reading is that Cruz has the potential in Wisconsin to do exactly what Donald Trump did in South Carolina because of the way they apportion their delegates. You have state-level delegates that will be apportioned according to, certain rules and other things as to who wins the state. But then the delegates go by congressional districts. So even if Cruz doesn't hit the 50% threshold that hits winner take all, he can still win the state-level delegates and win each congressional district, in which case he can take them all. And that, Stacey, that is so important because that dovetails so well with where I wanted to go next. And like you said, one of the things we've been trying to give the audience is the best breakdown we can of this completely insane delegate process. It goes by the state, and then there's the national committee. But, some of the states, we don't want the national committee. We're going to get into it in a little bit. Roger Stone is actually sending Trump thugs to the hotel rooms of delegates that can be unbound on the second ballot, knocking on the door. Oh, yeah, hey, this is Roger Stone. Nice little delegate you got there. You want to keep it so nothing happens to it. Oh, it'd be so bad if those little delegate legs of yours got broken. We'll get into that nonsense.
Yeah, well, can I just be clear about one thing?
Sure, because the Republican National Committee rules we're going to go into aren't clear about a damn thing.
Yeah. No, when you ring the bell after I talk, it's because I just had a really good answer. When you ring the bell when I tell you to, it's because you did something really, really wrong. I don't want people to be confused thinking I'm inappropriate.
Okay, well now let me set the now let me set the audience straight. Since I control the soundboard, whatever I play means whatever I want. Like right now, I'm going to give you an okay, terrific. Okay, so here we go. Okay, terrific. And now Stacey's like, shut up! So remember, it means
Stacey is trying really hard not to hang up the Skype call.
Let me tell you something. This is going to be JD at about 10:01 tonight.
Okay, terrific.
Do you have anything else on your decision, Medeska Bubble, there about numbers on the R side? Have they made any calls or no?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
They've called bizarre. All right, so the rest of
No, they
bizarre.
haven't called bizarre. Right now, Donald Trump is at 43.8. Ted Cruz is at 43.3 and behind by 15 votes.
With how many precincts reporting?
It says 0%, which can't be true. So I'd love to tell you, but I can't.
Okay. For those of you who don't think the GOP is a complete... Hold on, Stacey. Let's get the K98 talk line. We have a direct line to the RNC. The show's getting so big. Let's get Rance Priebus on the phone here. Hey, Rance. Stacey and I are looking at the decision desk numbers, and somehow you have a split contest at 43% of each with no freaking votes tallied. Can you explain this? Oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry, Greta. I'm not Greta. I'm JD. Oh, well, I never saw a colored man because I'm from Wisconsin until I saw Barack Obama.
God.
So I'm sure we'll have more votes coming in by the top of the hour. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to, for the audience, I know that you've heard a lot of talk about the Republican National Convention nominating rules. And specifically, the one that's been bandied around the most in the past few weeks is what you've heard referred to as Rule 40B. We're going to get into Rule 40B in a minute, but I had seen something about a specific rule that I wanted to look up today, and what I ended up landing on was the complete PDF file of the Republican National Committee rules and bylaws. And when you go through them, there are 42 in total, and they're interesting. Some of them are how the committee is formed. Some of them is how the party is formed. The ones that I think are germane and the most interesting start at rule number 15. The RNC rules 15 through 20, these all have to do, and keep in mind, this is not a separate roadmap. I mean, this is how fluid this can be. This is not a separate roadmap just for the conventions. This is in the rules and bylaws of the Republican National Committee. Rule number 15 covers participation in the delegate selection process. 16 is the election selection allegation of binding delegates and alternate delegates. That's something we haven't heard much about. Rule number 17, throw it out the window, enforcement of the rules. Vacancies in a state delegation, I had never thought that far down the line. Excess delegates and alternate delegates, I wasn't sure about. Certification. Rule number 22, temporary role of the Republican National Convention. Now, rules number 26 through 42, which end the Republican National Committee rules, deal specifically with the convention and its order of business, committee reports, blah, 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 blah. There were 3 rules that stood out to me. The first was rule number 32. The rule number 32 is literally called suspension of rules because these are politicians and, reality doesn't matter. Rule number 40. I want to go into this 40B with you, and then I'm going to go over Rule 42. When we come back on the other side, Stacey and I are going to pick it back up because we had a conversation today that was interesting about what it really meant. I've heard the RNC chairman contradict himself, and there's a clause about the vice presidency I just don't understand. The vice president clause under Rule number 40 comes halfway through Rule number 40A. However, that if there is only one candidate for nomination for Vice President of the United States who has demonstrated the support required by Paragraph B, which is Rule 40B, a motion to nominate for such offense by acclamation. Basically, I didn't know that you could actually there may be a way to actually have both the presidential and the VP come out of this convention without the nominee naming him. Rule number 40B, this is the one that keeps getting talked about this week. Each candidate for nomination for President of the United States and Vice President of the United States shall demonstrate the support of a majority of the delegates from each of the 8 or more states. To my count, that leaves out Kasich. Severally prior to the presentation of the name of that candidate for nomination. Notwithstanding any other provisions of these rules or any rule of the House of Representatives to demonstrate the support required of this paragraph, and then it goes in, you need a certificate. They have to have won 8 states, and you have to let the convention know an hour before. Rule number 42 is very simple to go into. It's called temporary rules. This is your Republican National Committee, kids. Upon the adoption of the report of the Convention Committee on Rules and Order of Business, rules number 26 to 42 shall constitute the standing rules for this convention and the temporary rules for the next one. So that means we'll be coming back from the other side of the break. Stacey's going to pick up on what that means. And the way that I read it, I think JD and Stacey might be able to write the rules for the convention, baby. Second special announcement. Keep your ears open, kids. JD and Stacey might be at that convention. But first, the show's so big in conservative talk radio, even Diamond Dave's going to take us to break. JD and Stacey paying a couple bills here on Game On K98 Talk, part of that Conservative Commandos radio network.
One break coming up.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan. This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
The feeling most people get when they hear Barack Obama's speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I don't have that too often.
Steady.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. Ricky Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, will tackle the important issues facing America today as he tries to keep America from coming off the track. Get ready to hear the truth every Monday through Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, here on K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
Welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy.
Are you conservative in a world of liberal?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not alone. Hey, I'm Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice, and I'd like to invite you to tune in each Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I'll break down the events of the week, and together we'll learn about how they affect you. So, sit back and get ready for the good, the bad, and the ugly of talk radio right here on K98 Talk.
None of these shows are on anymore.
From the Vikings of Norway to my home down south to Washington, D.C., I've been around. I've seen it all, and I've come out on top. You better beware, for all you know, the bell tolls for you. Enter the bell tower or watch your step. 8 p.m. Thursdays, K98 Talk.
Welcome back to all our political geeks, freaks, and back alley sneaks. JD and Stacey, your radio acid trip here on Game On, part of that Conservative Commandos radio network on that K98 Talk. Everybody right now, get over to K98Talk.org. Get in that chat room. Say hello to Stacey. Join the conversation. Or tell Ron to put his clothes on. He keeps sending pictures. Remember, guys, after the show, stick around for the boss, that Ricky Tiki Tavi Rick Robinson. He's going to be taking you through the 11 o'clock hour with that America Off the Rails every Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard Time. And after that, what you going to do? You're going to take an hour off. You're going to tighten up your drink, tighten up your stink, help whatever make you think. Then you're going to get over to Spreaker.com. Hashtag JD and Stacey, JDANDSTACEY. Find a catalog we've been doing, everything here with K98 Talk, 1360 WNJC. And as we come back into the second segment, we're going to roll over on what we were talking about with the RNC rules for the convention. For those of you who are on social media, if you do not follow my beautiful and brilliant co-host, if you're on that Twitters, baby, you get over to Scott's Fire, SCOTSFYRE, or you find her on Facebook at Stacey Lennox. Why? Because in this part of the show, you're going to understand that she's not just quick, she's not just funny, she's not just nice. She is so politically savvy. She is better plugged into, I think, than most about some of these convention rules and how they stand. You know, to a layman like me, I look at them and it goes, okay, rule number 1, do me a favor, read number rules 5 to 7. All right, I go down to 5 to 7. 7 goes, go back to rule number 2. I go back to rule number 2. Rule number 2 says rules 1 through 8 do not apply. I say, okay. It says, go see rule number 9. I go down to rule number 9. It says, okay, this rule is the rule except that we might be able to change the rules. So now there's no rules. Do I understand this correctly?
To some extent, yes. But as you said before, rules 26, rules 26 through 41, to include number 42, are generally the convention rules. So what 42 says, as of 2012, these are the rules, and they're the temporary rules for the next convention, because you know what convenes every convention? A rules committee.
Right.
They take a look at the rules. They see if there's any modifications required. But the one thing I can tell you has been pretty consistent, at least for every election I can remember, is you need 1,237 delegates to be declared the nominee. Now, if that doesn't happen in the first round, you have to go to a second round. You don't get a participation trophy, Donald Trump.
Right.
And that's what all of the agenda is about. It has been so long since we have had a contested convention that nobody really understands what that means. It doesn't mean somebody is stealing delegates. It doesn't mean that it's unfair. It doesn't mean any of those things.
Well,
it means
it depends on what side of the rule committee you're on, because if you take a look, we've had 10 contested conventions in history. Mm-hmm. Only 3 of them have yielded a winning nominee.
Well, part of that is because contested conventions create agita within the party. Okay, there's going to be some people that are very unhappy if we go to a contested convention and Donald Trump is not the eventual nominee.
We actually might have some breaking news, according to Sandy. I am seeing that they holy cow. Well, I guess you want to know what? You wonder, not to cut Stacey off, we're going right back to this. We're going to give you up-to-the-minute reports.
Decision Desk just called it for Cruz.
What you have, yeah, that's what we're speaking about. What you have to understand about Wisconsin is that Wisconsin has a winner-take-all provision. If the overall winning candidate has over 50% of the vote, but you could have less than 50% of the vote and still end up as winner-take-all or winner-take-most if you win the congressional districts. And the reason I bring this up is that right now Decision Desk has called it for Cruz, but they're only saying there's about 3% of the precincts reporting. Now, Stacey, to my mind, this would have to be a pretty decent margin for them to have called it within a half hour with less than 3% report.
Well, right now, Cruz has almost double the votes of Trump. There's about 1,000 people in Wisconsin we just need to go slap because they're voting for somebody who's not even still in the race.
Well, hold on a second there, Stacey. I know you're not Greta, but, I think I'm going to be out of a job. Would you like to pay me to come slap some people maybe after November 8th? Because I think I'm going to get fired no matter who wins.
I do have to say this, though. In all honesty, when you look at the congressional gains, the state legislative gains, and other and fundraising gains the RNC has had, the dude hasn't done a completely crappy job. In my estimation, the biggest mistake he ever made was not allowing Donald Trump to just whine his way into going to third party.
You know, it's funny that you said that, because I agree with almost everything that you said in regards to Rance Priebus, never saw a colored man, Barack Obama from Wisconsin. And the reason for the one where I part ways is this. And I know you're going to love this, because this is another analogy. The Jets at the end of the season last year had to win. All they had to do, if they won their last game, they got into the playoffs, right? So the last game was good. The last game was close. They lose the last game. They don't get in. So right now the Jets are in the middle of negotiating so that they have a quarterback to play. So the guy who took them through that run was named Fitzpatrick. So I was speaking to a friend of mine who was another fan, and I said, "Oh man, they should just pay Fitz. I like Fitz. Fitz showed that he can play, he can manage the game, and we've been such a mess at quarterback." And he goes, "Yeah, screw Fitz." And I go, "Why?" He's like, "They shouldn't pay him." And I'm like, "Well, why?" He's like, "Because your job is to be that guy in that moment, and he didn't win the game. So forget about what he did for the other 15 weeks. For the money he's asking, his only job was to win that game and go on, and he didn't." And that goes to big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. Why am I saying this? Because to Stacey's point, she's right. She's right about what Ryan Priebus has done over at the RNC, with the RNC. But at the end of the day, this goes back to being the toilet midget. What does it matter for the gains that he's made, that when it came to game time, when it came to make that play in the end zone and take your boys to the playoffs or to the Super Bowl, he could not control, corral, understand, or get a handle on what was going on with the populist uprising in both parties?
No, and I'm not disagreeing with that. But when I hear people say he's never done anything right, when you look at, and I've had the opportunity to actually view some of the data systems these candidates on the right are finally using, they are phenomenal. He has improved our data structure. He has done a lot of positive things. Unfortunately, the least positive thing, having Donald Trump in the race, ginning all this up, the Republican nominee when he should have really been an independent, because he does not hold Republican values about really anything, right, is going to be his undoing, and it might be the undoing of the party. But I don't want to always gloss over what this guy didn't do anything correctly, because certainly when you look at the wave of Republican representation across the country in both the House and the Senate, the data collection and the fundraising, he did do some good stuff.
He did, but again, we could. I guess we'll be talking about this in the general, because all that data collection and stuff that they've caught up to the Democrats with. Do you know when that matters? That matters in a closely divided electorate in what everybody thought for the next 4 or 5 election cycles would be a neck-and-neck race. And depending on what happens and who comes out as the nominee of which party, all of those billions of dollars and man-hours of research may not actually matter. Because if you take Trump coming out as the nominee and he can't shake his negatives, then what does it matter if they had an edge, because the entire premise was built that the next 20 years of election cycles are going to be based on 3 to 5 point races. But what I do think is this the meltdown that we're going to see? Oh my God! We have got. You want to know what this? Where is it? I think I just came down with Melania Trump's theme song. Did you see Tiny Hands McGee's mail order bride try and take some of the stink off what this idiot did the last 2 weeks yesterday?
No.
Oh my God. Well, first of all, we must listen to This Is Melania Trump theme song. Da. Stacey, she was like a Saturday Night Live skit. Did you see the movie Stripes?
A long time ago.
Okay, the beginning, the opening scene in the movie of Stripes. Who the hell is it? Is it Ivan Reitman? I think it's Ivan Reitman. He He's teaching English as a second language at a night school class in the middle of New York for all the immigrants, right? And he's like, there she was, just walking down the street, and 50 people from every country imaginable were like, so this was Trump's wife last night. I swear to God, it was that scene out of Stripes. She's a beautiful woman, no doubt. But the Donald, Ladani, Trumpkins, listen, Trumpkins, this is the point where you take your hands off your schmeck and put you on the radio. Listen, Lil Donnie, because he has no core principles, has completely blown his message off the rails the last 2 weeks. So what happens every time a candidate with a good wife or a wife that's a political asset, what do? You drag her out. Okay. So last night, Trump's mail-order bride... Oh,
she's an asset, just not a political one.
She's an ass something. So she hits the stage, right? And she's up there. Now, I want you to think about something. I want everybody to close their eyes. Trumpkins, hand off Schmeckel, ear on radio. If you are a Trump supporter in this environment and this was any other candidate's wife, you would be screaming left, right, and center about, oh, my God, we want Americans. Where's my country? There's no Americans in the White House. Yeah? Donald Trump's wife got up there yesterday and was like, hello? I would like to make the talk about the English because my husband, great success, right? Very nice. And I'm watching this. And I'm praying to myself, oh, my God, how far down the crapper do you have to be to sell to your base to keep them solid? You're running on a nationalist, screw the Mexicans, screw the Muslims, screw anybody who's not a rich billionaire platform, and you send the wife out, who, if she wasn't a dime piece and married to a billionaire, would be working at a sweatshop in Brooklyn making fake Prada bags.
God.
I'm telling you. Hand to God.
Oh, wow.
Okay, this is what I wanted to ask her yesterday.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I was in village, okay? I was married to first cousin because in my country, this is what we do. Yeah, very nice. Then one day, big plane come fly into village. It say Trump. Big man with very tiny hands comes out. He looked orange. He punched my father, yes. He takes my husband to his cousin, and he takes me back to America. Now I live in White House.
Oh, dear God.
Hold on a second. I have to hit the audio in my bubble. All right. We only have 4 minutes left in the segment. I think that the last decision desk update I see here on the Republican side, just over 5% reporting. Cruises are hovering around that 48%. Going to be interesting to see.
And it keeps bouncing between 46 to 53. So,
and you want to keep your eye on what they call the WOW counties. It's Waukesha and something that starts with an O and something else that starts with a W. But. The media would love you to think that the only shenanigans going on are on our side. That's not true because tonight. Boom, boom, boom. Defeated. And this goes back.
It looks like it's going to be a handy defeat. Almost 10% of the vote is in, and Bernie's almost at 60%.
Where is the GOP, Wisconsin Dem? I'm still using how to. Oh, good God, and baby Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like she wasn't in the state. But what this does,
Well, she wasn't in the state.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Right, going into tonight, and it looks like his margin is going to be a lot. The RCP average had Uncle Speedo at 48 and had Hillary at 45. It looks like, with as fast as they called it, that's going to be a lot wider margin. Now, this is going to do a couple of things. This goes back to what we were saying in the beginning. Both the campaigns of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are starting to spend money in New York. New York has 150 delegates that they shouldn't have to spend a nickel to get. It's both of their nominal home states. So what happens is, you're going to hear people.
Hillary is not a New Yorker.
No kidding. You're going to hear people on the left go, well, Clinton has 1,712 of the 2,383 needed. Yes. However, that total is made up of only 1,243 pledged delegates. 469 superdelegates make up her lead. If you look at Uncle Speedo, Bernie has 1,011 delegates. She has 1,243. by a percentage basis, now you have to keep in mind, these superdelegates can peel off the same way that they did in 08. We got about 2 minutes left. What do you think the consequences of tonight are for Cankles and the Empress of Chappaqua, and how do you see Uncle Speedo's momentum, if any, for the next 2 weeks?
It really, I mean, we have read so much about the ground game, on the Republican side and what Cruz's team is doing to ensure that if it goes to a second vote, he's got people in place in key states. I can't wait to start reading about how he's working Pennsylvania. Those folks are unbound to begin with. So when you take a look at how these superdelegates are being approached and who they are they activists? Because if they're activists, it's very possible they might like Bernie better.
On the Democratic side, you're going to find that in these Northeast Republican elections. You're not going to find a lot of activists. I mean, one of the sad things are that if you went to the Northeast, Cruz has been so skillful about playing this delegate game. The Republican Party and the conservative wing of the Republican Party has been so dead and atrophied in the Northeast, whether it's New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Delaware, you start heading down to the Mid-Atlantic.
In California, Schwarzenegger.
Well, that California, maybe we'll pick up on that next week. California is a lot more interesting because Cruz has actually narrowed California to the margin of error. California, the Republican primary, might be the only time that it's ever mattered in my lifetime, baby. However, coming into the 10 o'clock hour, closing out the show, Stacey and I are going to have some nonsense of the world. They're delivering weed with juice. Robots are making people horny. Everybody shut off their iPhones. And a story I haven't gotten to about some kind of island being taken over, baby. JD and Stacey, game on here in that K98 Talk. Part of that conservative radio. What is it? We're part of something. We'll be back in 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Hey everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes in...
Listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works.
President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before.
Did someone say green?
Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind?
Now, do you say good things about me on the show?
No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much.
The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation.
Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo?
I got a pen. I can veto that,
I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it.
Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either.
That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
I'm easy like Sunday morning.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. If it's Sunday, it's Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
We're your cure from your weekly news hangover.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
JD and Stacey welcoming you back to Game On, part of that Conservative Commandos radio network here on that K98 Talk. In the words of the immortal Donald Trump, Lil Donnie, Ted Cruz schlonged you today. That's right, kids, if you just joined us, Ted Cruz. Primary call for him in that Wisconsin. Remember, guys,
he's hitting, his percentage is going north of 50 the more votes that come in.
Everybody right now, get over to K98Talk.org, get in the chat room, say hello to Stacey. Go ask Sandy in the chat room how videos work on the radio. If somebody figures that out, we'll have that up in about 16 minutes. Remember, guys, we're not just here live Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. We do it again Thursday nights here in K98 Talk. Game On again live, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sunday morning, still Game On. Shift gears, 11 a.m. Curing your mainstream media hangover. Friday, 5 p.m. We got a show in a little tiny media market called Philadelphia. Oh, yeah, by the way, is the drive time lead into Yahoo Sports. Where can you find it? WNJC 1360 a.m. on that Conservative Commandos radio network. Big announcement coming up, guys. Remember, nobody knows who the Cowboys are going to draft with the 4th pick, but Dallas might be drafting JD and Stacey. And after the Boston show at 10 o'clock Monday through Friday, you get over to Spreaker.com, hashtag JD and Stacey, JDANDSTACEY. Find out a catalog of everything we've been doing here over the past year till the morning comes. For those of you who are not familiar with some of the shows here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network, Angie and Paul, do you happen to know off the top of your head when they're on, Stace?
I believe it's Monday at 10.
Monday at 10 o'clock. I have got to give her a hat tip for this. Guys, don't just tune in for us. Make sure you tune in for all the talent on the station. They were such smart, funny people. I've got to tip my hat.
Hey, and if you think a Rick roll is funny, listen to Angie and Paul.
And I've got to give Angie a hat tip here. She sent out a tweet to Eric. But hey, Eric Bowling, don't be discouraged. No matter the results tonight, I'm positive Trump will still win the Drudge poll and call in tomorrow. Hold on a second, Andy. I'm stealing it right from. We have breaking news from the K98 Talk News Desk. Donald Trump's coming up to the podium now to make a surprise announcement from his plane about the Wisconsin primary.
Yes, for those of you who think I got schlonged, I did not get schlonged. However, I would like you to know that I have been treated very, very unfairly by the RNC because I have won the Drudge poll tonight in Wisconsin and nobody's given me delegates. What a jackass this guy is.
I know.
What an unbearable.
Do you ever see how he hates on people in primary states that he doesn't win?
You know who he is? Donald Trump is the big badass bully that when he's out in the open, man, he's going to use his money to crush you. I swear to God, you run into this jerk-off in some alley and he's a nobody. I mean, I have never seen a more tiny, schmeckled, insecure person in my life. I don't know. I want to bang my daughter. Oh, Mexicans have sex with my wife. Let's build a wall. I don't like abortion. I love abortion. I am a Republican. I hate Republicans. I am conservative. Conservatives make us live. Just shut up. Jesus God. And
here's the $1 million question in my mind going forward this week.
Right.
If Cruz whomps him in Wisconsin and stays over 50%, what does this do for Scott Walker?
You want to know something? It lets Scott Walker come out, and the legacy and narrative on Walker is that he's a kingmaker, not somebody who was sub 40 on his last year in office. Hold on one second. Let me just hit the automobile here. All righty, we're back with the automobile.
But does he end up in the administration?
All we know is Ben Carson and Chris Christie won't. We had Chris Matthews.
Oh, and if you all missed Sarah Palin earlier this week, go look it up. She is a parody of herself on Saturday Night Live.
Sarah Palin is like the porn star that stayed in the business too long, and then like after the 8th boob job, they just got ugly and crooked.
Dude, she was in a room full of Republicans in Wisconsin. Nobody clapped. They never clapped. They never gave silence. It was horrifying to watch.
For those of you who watched the show, we had Sunday. We had Chris Matthews tripping up. What the hell's his name?
Donald Trump
on abortion. We had audio that didn't make the edit. This was Chris Matthews' follow-up question.
Congratulations, you're a mother.
Yeah, that was Walter Winchell that got you there, Donnie. Okay, so for those of you who like to get high, it may be time to start ordering your juice. Washington. This is from Fox 5 D.C. Oh, it's going on in D.C., baby. You know it's got to be popping. There's a new delivery service in town that is seeking to capitalize on Initiative 71. What is Initiative 71? The measure passed last year, which says you can buy and grow marijuana in D.C., but you can't sell it, baby. No, because the government hasn't figured out how to tax it.
So how do you buy it if nobody's selling it?
What?
It says you can buy, and grow marijuana in the district, but you can't sell it. How do you buy it if nobody's selling it?
It's very simple. You go to the guy in the corner and go, I don't want cocaine and heroin. Do you have weed? So now, this new business in D.C.
I mean, that's just a stupid statement. I'm sorry.
Wait, so this new business in D.C. delivers a high-quality juice which can come with a gift of weed on the side. The owner of High Speed Delivery, oh my God, A+ for the name, says he isn't trying to break the law. In fact, he says he has consulted with several lawyers, because we know they're never wrong, in an attempt to figure out how to operate what he calls a socially conscious. Basically, what he's figured out how to do is to sell people the juice, but charge them the price of weed for it, and stick free weed as a gift on the side.
Well, because he has a very interesting pricing strategy. Apparently, you can buy just your juice for $11, and that's some significant juice, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
But you can take a designation called Love Cost of $55, which means you're making some kind of weird donation and getting a gift of pot, or Lots of Love for $150.
No, let me help everybody out here who doesn't smoke pot. If you look at the margins, you can buy a dime bag, an eighth, or a quarter. That's exactly what that is. That is exactly what that is. You can buy a dime.
He's got to be recovering the cost of the juice.
Of course he is. He's charging $11 for a dime bag. Profits.
What would be really funny is if it's cannabis juice.
Who gives it? Who the hell? You want to know what he should deliver with it? He should deliver Skittles and Milky Ways with weed attached to the side of it. Oh, my God. And then you know what he should do? He should send his kids to dental school.
Serious.
All right, because we cannot get away from him. They'll be taking over the world.
I have nothing to bring to the table on this one.
Nothing. You won't even play with this one.
I bring nothing to the table.
Okay, so
I read this and I was so disgusted. I was like, seriously?
You know I don't read them. So basically, the rough idea of this is there are arousal zones between robots and humans.
No, apparently, if you have
let's have sex,
and the robot's
a humanoid robot who will tell you to touch one of 13 places on it that is essentially asexual. I mean, it doesn't look like a boy or a girl.
Wait a minute.
All right. If it tells you to touch him in the hoo-hoo, apparently that does something to human brains.
Wait a minute. This is like a perverted erogenous zone version of the kids' game Operation.
Something like that, but I mean, if you look at the robot that they were using, it looks like one I bought my kids for Christmas like 7 years ago that they used to do remote controls with. I'm like, seriously? This is disgusting. And why would you do this test? Why? I feel no better knowing this than I would have felt if I had never heard it.
Is there a market research I can sign up for? So, like, if you've just had a real awful day and, like, you know, your girl's traveling and you go to bed and, like, you can just pray that in the middle of the night the robot wakes up at, like, 3:30 and he's like, doo, bee. And you're like, oh, I must be having a dream. Oh, my God, the robot's touching my schmeckle.
In 26 trials, the scientists found that a touch upon what they politely call the less accessible regions of the robot was more arousing than touching the creature's hands or feet.
You know what the funniest part of that sentence is?
No. To me, I just went, okay, I need to go take a shower.
These scientists were so horny and hadn't been laid so long. They're like, oh, test number 1. Ooh, we need test number 2. They did this 26 times.
Oh, God.
Listen, something tells me if you're in quality control for hair dryers and the hair dryer comes down the assembly line, you go, yup, it's hot, and it goes on. This robot came down. He's like, oh, touch my schmeckle. Oh, test number 2.
God. Again, I bring nothing to the table.
You brought everything to the table. I couldn't have asked for a better say. A minute left. Are we talking about iPhone madness with they can see all the naughty pictures or whatever kind of a hostage situation is at this vacation island?
I think the hostage situation at the vacation island is pretty funny.
Well, do it in a minute. We got to go.
So there's this really nice Italian resort island of Sardinia, which is now paralyzed because they decided they were going to house a bunch of refugees there. And these migrants who have nowhere else to go are so grateful that they shut down the downtown.
Yeah, we have a name for this in New York. It's called the Bronx. I cannot believe it. I can't believe I just said that. The fastest hour in conservative radio, wrapping up, coming into the top of the 10 o'clock hour. This is the time of the program we not only thank the audience, but I look at my beautiful co-host, and I say, baby girl, baby girl, baby girl, you got them keys?
Oh, God, get me out of here. I talked about robots.
Get me out of here and let's blow up a couple 767s.
If you want to work,
oh, no, that's not the one. Where is the key? I started the wrong car. Tell the nice people where to find you and what's going on.
You can always find me on Twitter at @ScottsFire, SCOTSFYRE, or on Facebook at Stacey Lennox.
You can find me at Game On JD on the Twitters. Evidently, the last 2 brain cells I had wrestling killed each other, so I'll be on autopilot from now till Thursday. I got a bulletproof vest. Who the hell knows where I'll end up? Somebody's going to take a shot at me. If I live through it, I'll see everybody Thursday night.
I'm looking for you, you Occupy freaks with your glitter bombs. Bring it on! Bring on the glitter. Everything has changed. Everything has changed in the last few years. Conservatives used to take it, and we're not taking it anymore.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com. If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, security and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.